Hi, this is another short video to help you out with the case. I'm going to go into the case itself right now and direct your attention to exhibit number 4. So let me go to exhibit 4 here. Exhibit 4, check figures. This is an optional step, but I think this will be useful. On the bottom here, it'll explain basically what I'm going to demonstrate here. Is you have 6 different tables that we need to import into Tableau for our analysis. And they have different, properties basically. Right? We have different number of records for these tables. So I want to do these checks to make sure that I'm bringing the data in correctly. So yeah, I'll demonstrate how to do this so that if you run into any issues or if you have any questions, this could hopefully answer some of those issues that you run into. So I'm going to switch over now to Tableau and then import these tables in and then examine them one by one. Now I'm back into Tableau. I'm going to connect to the data source. I'm going to go to data source and connect to the text file. So let's start with the materials table. So I'm going to click on material, and this is what the table looks like. So the easiest thing for me to do here is just go to the worksheet itself. I'm going to the worksheet, and all of the relevant columns are populated here. Let's check the number of records. Then I just have to take the material masters.txt count measure here. I'm going to take that, and then I'll just put it into the canvas itself, 8, right? So that means there are 8 rows in this table. Okay, so that's verified. Sum of the material, let's take the map material. I could put it in, you can put it here again, 2,604,058. And that again, if you go back to our case, okay, so it verifies, it matches this value, okay. Go back to Tableau. Let's pull in a different table. So we'll go to data source again. Let's pull in. So you can look at a different video to kind of do some of the connections between these tables using the yard diagram. So for now, I just want to check them by table. So I don't have to do any connections here. Let's look at the transactions table next, which is probably our main table that we're going to work with. So I'm going to drag the transactions table in. So it's populated. It shows the rows and the columns here. Okay, and I'm going to again go back to the worksheet. And again, I'm going to drag this out because that table's been removed. So I'm going to get rid of this. You know what? Probably should have. Let's just refresh it and see, or let's delete that. So let's see here. Let's check. First of all, let's check whether the number of records match what I have in the case PDF file. So let's again take the count down here. I'll just put it onto the worksheet. It says the canvas 258,602. So let's go back to the PDF file. Indeed, it matches 258,602. I don't know. Let's do some of these. Some of quantity. Let's just do some of these in the transaction dates. So let's go back to Tableau. Okay, I'll start with, let's see. Let's do a sum of quantity, right? So I'm gonna take the quantity. I'm just gonna drag it into the text here. 1.168. So I think this matches what we had in the sheet. Let's do some of the taxes. Just drag that in again to the text. That value also matches the 254 million. Okay, and let's look at the transaction date and the first transaction date and the last transaction date. So there's a transaction date is located up here. Here we go. I'm going to drag that in to text. Okay, and now it's just doing something else, right? So let's actually change this. So actually, I don't really need these things anymore. I'm going to remove those. Okay, I'm just looking at the transaction dates. So if I want to look at the first and the last date, I have to convert this. Measure something else. So let's do the conversion and see what it shows. Let's first check the first transaction date. Okay. I'm going to click on this here variable, this pill, and then I'm going to go down to measure and then change this to a minimum. And then once I change the minimum, it says January 1st, 2012, which let's see if that verifies or that matches what I had in the case. Indeed, it's the same, January 1st, 2012. Okay, so that's good. Now let's repeat this to get the maximum. So I'm going to again drag in the transaction date again, put it into text. The second one, now I'm going to convert this into maximum. Oops. Okay. So then December 31st, 2015, and this should match what was showing in the case. So indeed, December 31st, 2015. So this is just to make sure these data tables are coming in correctly into Tableau. The next thing I want to examine is the null values, and see if what I get when I import these tables and check for these null values. So I'm going to remove everything, and if I look at, let's go back to the case. If I look at the entity master table, there's 1,072 records, so that means there's 1,072 rows in this table. Out of those, there's a null value in 979 of these rows in the relationship manager column. And if you look at the zip column, there are 66 null values. There's 66 rows with the null value in there. So let's see different ways to kind of verify these number of null values, the number of rows with these null values. So let's go back to Tableau and then bring in the entity master table and see what it looks like. So go back to the data source. I no longer need this, and then I'm gonna bring in the entity master. Let's bring that in. Okay, so it's got it's got some of the columns that we talked about earlier, and it's an entity relationship manager. So this is the one where there were 979 rows or the null value. So let's verify that. I'll go back to my worksheet, and I'm gonna examine the relationship manager variable now. Okay, let's check all four items, or the four things that was listed from the entity master table in exhibit 4. So number of records, I'm going to drag the entity master.txt count into this browser canvas, 1072. That indeed matches what we had in the table. Now let's drag in let's check the sum of relationship manager. So let's look at the relationship manager. I'm going to drag that in into text as well, and automatically by default return to a sum 87,627,132. That also matches what we had. So now let's deal with this null value. So relationship manager 672, right? So rather than looking at the sum here, let me just drag another one in here under text. Okay. And then let me try that again. That text. Okay. Is that correct? Entity relationship manager. That's the correct. So let's take a look here. Make sure it's the right column here. I actually didn't have to do this, right? I could just let's take the interrelationship manager sum. I'm going to turn that into a count. Okay. So let's turn that into a count, and let's look crowded here. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of all of this right here. Let's see. Let's get rid of sum as well. Okay, so now I have let me flip the order here. Okay, so the count is 1072. The sum into manager again, that's what I had earlier. I'm going to turn that into a count again. Okay, say 93. So we have 93 rows in this table where the relationship manager column has a non-null value. So we can take 1072 and subtract out 93, and that'll give us 972. That's one way we can verify. Let's try a different way to verify the number of null values, a number of rows with null values in this table and for this field. Okay, so let's try a different way to count the number of null records or number of null rows or null values in the relationship manager column. One way I can do that is take the total number of records or number of rows in the table and subtract out the non-null value rows in relationship manager. So I'll drag the really any one of these. So I'll drag the some of the relationship manager onto the column here, and I'm gonna edit this equation up here directly, so I can double click on it. So no, let's do the count of. So like, sorry, let's try it again. Press it. So count, and my expression, I'm gonna do the count of the whole entity master txt file. So entity master txt, and I'm gonna subtract out the count of the number of rows with non-null values. Again, sorry, press the wrong button here. Go back to this. I'm gonna subtract out the count of the non-null values in the relationship manager column. So let's type in relationship manager. There it is. Okay, and then press enter. Right. So the count right here. So if I want to actually see the number, you can go over. It tells you 979. And I have to drag this to label here and see now there's 979. So that should match the number of null values in the relationship manager column. Okay, we could also then repeat the same kind of process for the zip column as well. So this is just to check the values. So yeah, if you have any questions on it, just let me know. And so hopefully this is helpful as you import the data into Tableau as you work on your case study. Okay, thank you. Take care.